straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right on the show today, Cristiano Ronaldo creates history, scores his 900th career goal. And the irony, this comes at a time when the nominee list for the Ballon d'Or is seeing the absence of the biggest names in football, CR7 and Messi. So who will take top honours this year? Hear my verdict later on in the show. Cricket is trying to attain global popularity meanwhile, especially across Europe and America, where it isn't the primary sport, the first sport. But why is an Italian town banning the sport entirely? There's more to this than meets the eye. And of course, Yusuf Dikec is again in the news, who was this internet sensation thanks to his casual pose and his demeanour at the Olympics, has now had enough. He's filed for patent rights on his pose. But first, a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with football, Portuguese talisman Cristiano Ronaldo netted a record 900th career goal. Ronaldo's goal came during Portugal's 2-1 victory over Croatia in the Nations League. The 39-year-old got emotional after achieving the milestone. Ronaldo's tally includes 131 international goals and 769 goals for clubs: Real Madrid, Manchester United, Juventus, Lisbon and Al Nassr. US's legendary footballer Alex Morgan announced her retirement from professional football. Morgan's last match will be for San Diego FC when the club takes on North Carolina Courage on the 8th of September. Morgan is a two-time world champion and has scored 123 international goals and 63 for the 5 clubs that she represented. Over in cricket, Pakistan's cricket board is considering a change of venues for the test series against England that's coming up. The 3-match test series was supposed to take place in Multan, Karachi and Rawalpindi a month later in around October, but these stadiums are currently being renovated for the Champions Trophy scheduled to take place next year. Pakistan's cricket board is reportedly planning to shift the entire series to Sri Lanka or the UAE. Swimming Australia has sacked coach Michael Palfrey after his controversial comments. Palfrey backed a South Korean swimmer to win over Australian swimmers in the Paris Olympics. His remarks sparked severe backlash from the Australian officials and the country's Olympic Committee. Swimming Australia said Palfrey's comments were damaging to its reputation. Over in tennis, in the US Open, Jessica Pegula has entered her very first Grand Slam final. She ousted Karolina Muchova 1-6, 6-4, 6-2 and will now face world number 2 Aryna Sabalenka, who beat Emma Navarro 6-3, 7-6 to make it to yet another Grand Slam final. News from the Paralympics, couple Parmar scripted history by becoming India's first Paralympic medalist in judo. Parmar won bronze in the men's 60 kg category by notching up a win against his Brazilian opponent Ileton de Oliveira. With couples bronze, India have so far won 26 medals at the Paris Games. It's that time of the year again, time to consider who will be Ballon d'Or winner this year. The 30-player men's nominee list, of course, is out, but this list is a little different because it marks the end of an era. Two legends of the game, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, haven't been named in the list. For the first time since 2003, neither Messi nor Ronaldo have made the cut. Quite a relief for whoever else is competing for Ballon d'Or. The competition now is wide open because when Messi and Ronaldo made it to the list, more often than not, one of the two always ended up winning. To think about it, just a few hours after the list was announced, the irony, Ronaldo scored his 900th career goal in the Nations League. The maestro helped Portugal register a 2-1 victory over Croatia. As if he was letting the world know, I might not be on that Ballon d'Or contender list this time, but I'm still one of the biggest faces, one of the strongest talents in football currently. The same, of course, can be said about Messi too. The Argentine is out with a football, out of action now due to injury, unfortunately, but just some months ago, the same Messi took Argentina to a Copa America win. So even when they aren't at their best, these two, they are still winning trophies and breaking records. And that's how 2 decades of domination looks like, because for years now, the battle was pretty much restricted between these two. The award held so much prestige because of the rivalry that Messi and Ronaldo, of course, shared. In the past 16 years, Ronaldo has won the trophy about 5 times, whereas Lionel Messi pocketed a record 8 times. And with the 2020 edition being cancelled, we only have 2 different winners in Luka Modric and, of course, Karim Benzema. This is why, with a change in guard, the competition has now become severe, because there won't be a clear favourite this time. It's evenly poised, especially this year. So despite Messi and Ronaldo's absence, can we expect an upset? Because all the 13 names competing for the trophy didn't quite dominate football. If Lamine Yamal won the Euros, he didn't win the Champions League. Vinicius and Jude Bellingham stood out at the Champions League, but unfortunately failed to impress at the Copa America or the Euros. So how is the winner really decided? The Ballon d'Or winner is decided by a panel of international journalists. Each voter is selected based on their expertise and representation of the sport. They come from various countries in the world who evaluate players' performances over the past year and cast their votes accordingly. And given there is a representation from different countries, it's varied, you're negating bias towards one particular player. So who are the favourites then, the front runners? Most eyes will be on 8 names out of that long list: Vinicius Jr., Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Lamine Yamal, Erling Haaland, Rodri, Dani Carvajal and Harry Kane. Now you may think that crowd favourites Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland would be leading the race, and that's where you could be mistaken. In the last year, both Haaland and Mbappe did help their domestic sides win league titles, but they failed to perform in the Champions League, with both Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain not tasting European success. Now, it would be hard for Mbappe or Haaland, in fact, to merit a Ballon d'Or this time. Mbappe may have won the Super Cup, yes, with Real, but his contribution was just for that one game. And given he had a poor Euros campaign, maybe this is not the year for the French captain. So let's wean this down further, shall we? Who leads the list then? Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. The duo won everything with Real Madrid and contributed to Madrid's dominant season. And just maybe, Bellingham has a slight edge here because Vinicius failed to create any impact for Brazil in Copa America. During the same time, Bellingham was busy taking England to a historic Euros final. A tournament they eventually lost, yes, but Bellingham's impact in the tournament cannot be missed, which makes him the top contender this year. But it won't be an easy ride for Bellingham. Ahead of him is a 17-year-old sensation in Lamine Yamal, who has taken the world by storm. The youngster took Spain to a fantastic Euros win and hurt Bellingham's dreams to win the Euros. What might work against Yamal, though, is the lack of domestic success. Barcelona's failure to win the domestic titles and Champions League might hamper his chances. But the one thing that does work in Yamal's favour is just the sheer impact that he's had on his team in the world of football. Because even in a struggling Barcelona, Yamal managed to create a huge influence. In addition to Yamal, there is another Spanish contender in Rodri. Yes, the Manchester City player didn't win the Champions League, but he was crucial in their Premier League win. And the Euros win was the cherry on the cake. The year has been Spain's year, in fact. Olympic gold, Euros win, and a Spanish club winning the Champions League. So maybe a Spanish Ballon d'Or winner is what will be the icing on that cake. That too, for the first time since Luis Suarez won in 1960. So with Messi and Ronaldo not there, there is no outright winner. Gear up then for a surprise one this year. Now, when I talk about sports being banned, what comes to mind first? It's obviously probably a country like Afghanistan that has been boycotting certain sporting disciplines at will. It usually denotes a very regressive mindset. A small town in another country in Europe has now banned a sport, and not one you'd think of immediately. It's the most popular sport in India for sure, and is slowly trying to attain global status, get more countries to play the sport, and trying to make its presence felt in countries that has never played the sport ever. Of course, I'm referring to cricket, and the country here is Italy. Now, this is a town in Italy called Monfalcone, located near the Adriatic Sea with a population of just about 30,000 people. The pictures of this town, very peaceful, serene and calm, but this ban is bound to create a bit of a storm. That's because of the reason behind the sport being banned in the first place. Mayor of Monfalcone, Anna Maria Cisint, claims cricket is a threat to Italy's cultural essence and has asked citizens to not indulge in the sport at all. If anybody was spotted playing, the police have the authority to take action and impose a fine of up to $112, around 100 euros, forcing people who are keen to pursue the sport to do it outside the town. But why this animosity, and why towards cricket? Is there any other reason? Well, 1/3 of the town's population are foreigners, mostly from the subcontinent around here, which is why the sport was getting popular in the first place. And if you tie in the reason the mayor has given, a threat to Italian culture, you realize the larger problem here and the bigger target. Cricket has been curbed in an attempt to target this community, who the mayor considers as outsiders.
If we were playing inside Monfalcone, the police would have already got here to stop us. They say cricket is not for Italy, but I'll tell you the truth, it's because we are foreigners.
This, of course, is one side of the story. Is this the complete picture? Now, here's what leads us to believe so. The mayor here, Anna Cisint, is known for her anti-immigrant sentiments. In fact, she rose to power on the back of that. Clearly, she has to further her mandate, what she stood for. And if that means curbing the foreign community in whatever way she can, in this case preventing them from playing and furthering cricket as a sport, then she would not hesitate.
Our history is being erased. It's like it does not matter anymore. Everything is changing for the worse. There is a very strong process of Islamic fundamentalism here. They've given nothing to this city, to our community. Zero. They are free to go and play cricket anywhere else, outside of Monfalcone.
Harsh words there from the mayor, who's clearly using cricket as a tool to fuel hatred towards the subcontinent community, as a means to target the foreigners in the Italian town. It's a shame the sport is suffering, though, especially when cricket is trying to spread globally. Just recently, we witnessed Australian cricketer Joe Burns moving out and playing for Italy, choosing to do that. An international Aussie cricketer choosing to represent a country like Italy that's taking baby steps in the world of cricket. This was seen as an upheaval for the sport there. Had Joe Burns experienced a pushback back then, like the mayor is treating the immigrants right now in her town, would Italy have gotten an international cricketer like Burns? Because let's face it, the biggest driving force behind cricket as a sport lies within the subcontinent countries. And it is this community that have been at the core of this, of furthering the sport, of many countries in Europe who have started taking up this sport. And that is what we have seen unfold across many other countries where cricket isn't the first sport. They've accepted, welcomed and embraced the spirit of cricket and the people propagating it. Just recently, Mexico introduced cricket as an activity in their prison with a mindset to make the inmates active, give them purpose and induct this sense of leadership and team building. And that decision, of course, has paid off. The players were learning so many life skills and were only benefiting from this. Take USA. The majority of the squad consists of players from all over the world, not Native Americans, predominantly Indians, Bangladeshis and Pakistanis, in fact. They not only imbibed the sport, but ensured they hosted part of the Cricket World Cup earlier this year. Let's bring this closer to home for Italy, for the mayor Anna Cisint. Take another European country, Spain, for instance. The city of Barcelona is building a cricket stadium. This after Barcelona City Hall asked its citizens to choose an initiative as part of a development project. The majority chose cricket, and the sport won. The project is aimed to help the women cricketers there in Barcelona, many of them immigrants from India and Pakistan. So if other countries and continents can be open-minded and have a vision to accept and build a new sport, why can't this Italian town do the same? Clearly, the world acknowledges that sport, in this case cricket, solves more than one purpose. And while the sport is taking giant strides in countries all over the world, why can't this Italian town take note and follow suit? Yusuf Dikec was the biggest rage at the Olympics. To think a man who did not win gold, didn't set or break any world record, would go on to be the biggest story of the Games is quite astounding. He became a household name, and many other popular sporting celebrities started copying him too, paying an ode to his coolness and his almost rock star status. But Dikec has had enough now. He's filed an application to patent his pose. That's right. Anyone who wishes to commercialize or take advantage of his pose will have to pay a heavy price. Take a look.
Yusuf Dikec, a Turkish shooter who made the sport cooler than it was. Equipmentless, wearing an outfit that could pass off as one worn by a spectator. Casual, no drama, no frills and no fashion. Yet this shooter made the biggest style statement of the year. An athlete who left other fellow athletes, superstars in their own right, overawed by his cool quotient. It of course first started with his fellow Olympians. A legendary athlete in Mondo Duplantis, the pole vaulter, had to mimic Dikec when he broke the world record at Paris. Other athletes across various sporting disciplines followed suit. And their imitation of the Dikec pose was an ode, something that only brought a smile to his face.
It made me so happy as Turkish citizen, a Turkish sportsperson, for other successful sports people to mimic that move. I always say, people who have nice hearts share nice things.
In fact, the popularity of Dikec has grown to such an extent that cricketers picked it up too. West Indian all-rounder Kieran Pollard did the Dikec after taking a catch during the 100 tournament final. And recently, Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson too took up the pose after he scored a goal in the 25th minute on Sunday against Crystal Palace. And Dikec was quick and happy to respond. But now he's taken steps to patent that pose. Dikec has filed for a trademark with the Turkish Patent and Trademark Office. His code says this came because of several attempts made to trademark his pose without consent.
After being informed of numerous trademark registration initiatives carried out without Yusuf Dikec's knowledge, we submitted an application about a week ago.
The intent is straightforward. Not just to protect the intellectual property, but safeguard the commercial use of his likeness. Since the Dikec pose exploded, many brands and companies have started marketing products that bear Dikec's image. He has appeared on t-shirts, mugs, mobile phone covers and other memorabilia without his consent. And these are being sold like hot cakes. So Yusuf Dikec is basically trying to shoot down anyone who wants to use his image or likeness for commercial purposes. Fair enough, I guess. There can only be one sheriff in town, and Yusuf Dikec says that's got to be him.
Time for last serve. Uganda's Olympic runner Rebecca Cheptegei's death after being set on fire by her boyfriend in Kenya has shocked the whole nation. There are reactions from all over Kenya expressing grief and anger.
I can say we are still in shock and we are in pain, especially as athletes. And this thing happening in Kenya, this is the second time an athlete is being attacked. You remember the case of Agnes Tirop. Now it has come to Rebecca, so we are not happy.
Now, I hope there will be something to be done because I don't know how many more lives that we need to lose so that they wake up.
There's obviously rage all across Kenya there for Cheptegei, the Olympian. But that wraps up Firstpost here on a slightly somber note. But of course, I'll see you again after this weekend. Have a good one. I'll see you on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree. One tree for humanity. One tree for Mother Earth. One tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment. So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.